are Locked On MLB, your daily MLB podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, baseball fans. Welcome to Locked On MLB, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. This is the daily podcast. We talk about all of Major League Baseball. I'm your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see right there. You can call me Sully. This show is being dropped on the autumnal equinox, which is the 21st day of September 2021. There's about 12, 13 games left in the season, and things are wrapping up. And writer Jenn Smith from north of the border is going to be talking a little about the Toronto Blue Jays. This show is available on the free and easy-to-use Odyssey app. We're also available wherever you get your podcasts. If you have a smart device, be sure to tell it to play podcast Locked On MLB, or check out some of the other great shows on the Locked On Podcast Network, including Locked On Fantasy Baseball with Scott Cullen. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on all your podcast catchers, easy for you to say, and leave us a review. And notice I didn't say a positive review. Leave us a review. I read the bad ones too. Those can be more fun. Follow us on Twitter at Locked On MLB Pods. I'm going to put that caption up. Where is that? Put us at Locked On MLB Pods. Where did that go? I don't know. Just follow me on Twitter. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. I want to apologize. Jenn Smith, wonderful writer up in Toronto. We have been following each other in the Twitter world for a long time. We did a wonderful interview the other day, and there was a sound glitch in the first part of the interview that really messed up the first part of the interview and really made me angry. But fortunately, the second half of the interview was intact, and we talked about a lot of really great things. She's a wonderful guest, and she's a terrific writer about the Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays lost the game, a very rare thing. They lost the game to the Tampa Bay Rays, and that's an instance of two teams that seem to win every game they play. And so when they play each other, the odds are one team has to lose. And it was a back and forth game, and the Rays used, I think, 48 pitchers in the ninth inning to get the final out. It was a grinded out. And an interesting thing, the game was won by Shane Baz, who made his big league debut, 22-year-old kid, because that's exactly what the Rays need. They need another dynamite pitcher because it's a factory of them. And the save was by Dietrich Enns. Dietrich Enns. Okay, he got the save. Left-handed pitcher, got the final out. It was a 6-4 back and forth game between Toronto and Tampa Bay. Now, despite that loss, the Blue Jays still look really, really good. And it's a discussion we have for the rest of the podcast. Now, the Yankees won a big game against the Texas Rangers. I know the Rangers aren't that good, but they got to win games. It doesn't matter who they're playing. When you have, 12, 13 games left, you have to win whoever shows up to the stadium. And it was a tight game. It was a 4-3 final. But there's no points taken away for style. It's totally binary. And the Yankees got a key win to pull within a half a game of the Toronto Blue Jays. And the Blue Jays are now a game and a half behind Boston, who are idle. And just to show you that just because a team is bad on the schedule, and okay, that's a win. That's a win. Not always. Ask the Phillies. The Philadelphia Phillies are in a must-win situation. They're a couple of games behind the Atlanta Braves, and in come the Baltimore Orioles. That's right, the Orioles, who already, what is their loss total? They've already lost 102 games. That stinks. If the season was over right now, that stinks with a capital stinks. And they still have 12, 13 games left. And so you're looking at, okay, there's a couple of wins right there. All right, fine. We get to pad our win total. Nope. John Means, who threw a no-hitter earlier this year, pitched and won, and Wells got the final out. The Orioles scored 2 runs in the first. 2 runs. We can make that up. No, they didn't. That was the final. 2 bagel. And so if the Phillies miss the postseason by a game here or a game there, you can look back to when the Orioles shut them down in a must-win game. You can't lose must-win games. It's that must-win part of it. And you can't take teams lightly. We've seen the Orioles give some teams fits. Yeah, the Red Sox just swept them. But even those sweeps were competitive. They gave the Red Sox fits. The Red Sox had to come from behind in a couple of those games. And they won, 3 games recently against the New York Yankees? Can't lose those games. You cannot lose those games. And for teams that may miss the playoffs by a game here or a game there, yeah, you're going to look at the dramatic games, you're going to look at the games, the head-to-head victories, everything like that. But then when you think about the dumb losses, the stupid games, where you lost to teams where you had no business losing to. The Phillies had a tremendous amount of momentum winning the first 2 games in New York against the Mets. Then they lost on Sunday night in a crushing game and then dropped the first game to Baltimore. They went from within a game of the division to right now they're saying, oh, geez, we can't let this slip away. No, you can't. We are in the stretch run, folks. We are in late September. It's officially the fall. And if your team is still in contention right now, send a thank you note to the team's general manager because I thank you. My team is playing meaningful baseball in the fall. Well, we're going to bring on Jenn Smith. I recorded this on Sunday. And as I said, the first part of it had a major sound glitch, but I think you're going to enjoy our conversation. She's a wonderful writer and a great baseball mind and a big, big, big Toronto Blue Jays fan and writer about the Blue Jays. Hey, does this sound familiar? You've got one device that lets you catch the game live, another lets you stream your favorite shows. You're watching sports highlights on your phone, and you've got your neighbor's best friends log in for the good stuff. Well, I want to tell you there's a simple way to get all that entertainment you love without the hassle and a great way to finally get your TV together. It's called DirecTV Stream and brings your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before. So you can watch your favorite sports, movies, shows all in one place. That means no more juggling remotes and no need to buy another device ever again. Best part, there's no annual contract. So get rid of the clutter and all the confusion and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package. Hey, let's talk a little bit about Get Upside. Baseball fans, this is Sully with an incredible app for everyone who buys gas, and they need to know it. Get Upside. My listeners are making up to 25 cents for every gallon of gas every time you fill up. Just download the free Get Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now. Use promo code BASEBALL and get a bonus 25 cents per gallon on your first fill up. And that's 50 cents cash back. Don't pay full price at the pump anymore. Get cash back using Get Upside. Just download the app for free. Download the promo code BASEBALL to get as much as 50 cents per gallon cash back on your first tank. Some people who drive a lot are making as much as $200 or $300 a month in cash back, and there's no catch. The cash gets back right into your account. You can cash out anytime you want, PayPal, or use an e-gift card for Amazon or other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app. Use promo code BASEBALL to get up to 50 cents gallon cash back on your first tank. That's promo code BASEBALL for Get Upside. I have a weird theory, and you, Jenn Smith, seem to be the best person to throw weird theories to. I haven't lined up the timeline yet, so this could be totally wrong, and this could be one of those retroactive narratives that only makes sense, that way. That being said, I can't help but wonder if part of the Blue Jays getting their act together and going on a big win streak has to do with the fact that they were no longer on the road. That the first 2/3 of the season, they were playing in Dunedin, they were playing in Buffalo, they were always on the road. And the last third of the season, they're starting what was it, the last week of July, first week of August, they come back, they finally get to play in their home park. And I'm just going to go back to starting August 27th. Mm-hmm. On August 27th, they had a bumpy run, and they were 66-61. Not bad, Not bad, but trailing Oakland, trailing Boston, trailing Seattle, trailing the Yankees in the wild card hunt. After that date, they've been 18-4. They played 22 games and won 18 of them. And the run differential has been off the charts. And they've had some dramatic wins like the Marcus Semien home run game. How valuable and how crazy is that theory that this is a little bit of home cooking, that they can actually say, hey, we're doing well because we're playing well at home?
I'm sure that it plays into it. How much? I don't know. Those are those intangibles that you can't possibly put a price on. But I imagine, and the players have talked about it. They've actually been really good because they don't want to make excuses for anything, right? Charlie Montoyo has not wanted to make excuses. But I think switching homes multiple times during the season, most of the time when they were playing at home, either in Buffalo or in Dunedin, it was like a road game anyways, in terms of the fans who were in the stands cheering for the other team. It might be, it is definitely narrative, but it's got to be difficult to get up for these games and play them. And I don't know what the family situations were, whether or not families were, making all of these different moves with them. And, I think there's something to be said for being settled and having a routine.
Yeah. I can't, it can't not have affected them. I mean, like, I know it's the narrative, but sometimes things are happening outside the baseball diamond and it affects the team. It's like, you can't, it can't help but when you're like, God, we're still on the road. We still haven't played a home game. We're still in a hotel. We're still living out of our suitcase. We're in Buffalo. We're in Dunedin. When the heck are we heading back to our home ballpark? They're vagabonds.
Right. And it goes back to last season too,
Yeah.
Right? So this was a long period of time.
Yeah. I've been to Toronto once in my life. My late father and I used to go on baseball trips. And in 95, we went to, it was called Sky Dome then. We stayed in the Sky Dome Hotel. And Molitor was still there. Alomar was still there. I think Joe Carter was still there in 95. There were still a lot of players from the championship teams that were there when we were there. They were no longer as good, but there was like the remnants were there. And that same trip, we went to Stade Olympique and saw the Expos. And that was, of course, the year after the strike and the great purge that happened there. And one of the greatest what ifs in baseball history is if the strike hadn't happened and the Expos probably they would have won the division for sure, but they probably would have won the pennant. And maybe that would have, we saw that Toronto was baseball crazy, and maybe that would have sparked Montreal and maybe have built Labatt's Park or the stadium they were wanting to build instead of Le Stade Olympique, which sits like the crashed Starship Enterprise of have you ever been to a game there at
I haven't, no.
Oh God. My dad and I went there, and Montreal is a beautiful city. First of all, a great city. And I always had a soft spot in my heart for the Expos because I like baseball in French. And just going there was so weird because it was so cavernous and so big and parts of it so roped off. And it didn't feel like a baseball stadium. It just felt weird. Now we went to Sky Dome, which was rocking, and the fans there were going crazy. And I took one of my favorite baseball pictures ever, which was there was a kid who was wearing a full mask that covered his head of the Blue Jays logo. So he was just sitting there, this kid with a Blue Jay head, not like a ornithologically correct Blue Jay. He just was the logo come to life, just sitting there the whole game like that. And I said, I love that kid. That kid, I hope he's loving Vladdy Jr. But that really could have been a time where Canada took over baseball because they could have won 3 straight World Series between the two in Toronto and what the Expos were inevitably going to do. How well do you remember those teams in the 92 and 93 squads?
Fairly well. I think I went to one of the games. I can't remember if it was 92, 93. To be completely honest, I think it was the 93 World Series. My parents took us to one of the games, which was incredible.
Yeah.
to have been able to do that. I remember in '93. I mean, my parents took us downtown the night of the win to celebrate. Like how incredible is that? And I those teams were so iconic. And if depending on your age bracket, some fans obviously in this market, that's sort of the only dose of winning that they had leading up to 2015, 2016. For other fans, 2015, 2016 is the only dose of winning that they've had.
Yeah.
And there was a long period of time in between. So yeah, it was really good memories. I just remember the buzz in the city then. And I remember it in 2015, 2016. I went to all the playoff games of both of those years, home games.
Mm-hmm.
And just that.
Were you there for the Encarnacion walk-off where Showalter made the single dumbest managerial decision I can ever imagine?
Yep. No. I was there for that. I was there for Jose's bat flip and all the nonsense that led up to that, which honestly, if that hadn't happened, I mean, I was really afraid that fans were going to riot that night. Like, I was just like, am I going to be able to get out of here? I don't know what's happening, And
can I tell you about that night, that game between Texas and Toronto, which was the famous Bautista bat flip? I was working for a tech company at the time. Mm-hmm. I won't tell you which one, but its initials were HP. And my supervisor, we were at like this big meeting, and we had our computers open like this, and we were supposed to be paying attention to the meeting. But my supervisor was born and raised in Dallas and was the single biggest Ranger fan I ever met in my life. And we loved to talk baseball together at work. And I knew, because especially he was still smarting from 2011, and the Rangers won the first two games in Toronto.
Yep.
And he thought, we're going to the League Championship Series. This is going to be our year. And they dropped the two games in Arlington, but they had Cole Hamels on the mound. Rangers took an early lead. And as this meeting's going on, he has the game. He can't watch the game because we're at work. So he has the game on the ticker in the corner of it. And I have in the corner of mine. And so I didn't see the home run live, but I saw the in-play runs on the MLB ticker. And when I saw in-play runs, I was like, oh no. And I looked over to him, and I could see he saw the same thing. And like his face you could see the blood rush out. So I confess, I was rooting for the Rangers that game because I wanted to see him. But so all that was happening. And my phone, because I was doing the Sully Baseball podcast, but I was working at this thing, my phone started exploding with bat flip, notifications. I'm like turning off my phone, like I'm in a meeting. And so I didn't know any of that until after the game. It was all, I just saw it as in-play runs. And my poor supervisor just, trying to keep a straight face while we're talking about cloud management or something stupid that no one cares about anymore. So anyway, that's
sitting there live. I mean, I nobody in the stadium knew really what had happened, in the top half of the inning with the throwback to the no, we didn't know what had happened, right? So there was no replay. I tried to call my brother to find out what was happening because he was watching it, on TV, and I couldn't hear him, and I'm like, I don't know. And I didn't even see the bat flip live, right? Because you're watching the ball go, out of the stadium, and then it's it's tears. You're hugging strangers. I didn't even know he had, until I watched it later on, and it just kind of got to relive it. So yeah.
Wow. Hey, guess what I just got in the mail? I got a big old box of Built Bar. Say that 3 times fast. Do you know that Built Bar has so many delicious flavors? There's something for everybody. And you talk to a Built Bar fan, they have their favorite flavors like German chocolate, cookies and cream, orange, strawberry, salted caramel, double chocolate, mint brownie, raspberry, cherry barcia, coconut. My favorite is the raspberry covered in chocolate. If you haven't tried the flavors, get a mixed box. You get 2 of each of the 9 flavors. But they're not only tasting great, they're healthy too. 17 to 18 grams of protein. Calories range from 130 to 180. Only 4 or 5 grams of sugar. Only 4 or 5 grams of net carbs. all tasty, all healthy. Order today, get the grasshopper cookie or raspberry, whatever you want. Built Bar is the official protein bar of the U.S. track and field team. Go to Built.com, use promo code LOCK15 to get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at Built.com. I'll tell you something, as an outsider, it was thrilling for me in 2015, 2016, seeing Toronto becoming a baseball city again.
Mhm.
Because when they opened Sky Dome in '89, it instantly became a sensation. Like, they drew 4 million fans.
Yeah.
4 million fans came to that. No team had ever drawn that. Not the Dodgers, not the Yankees, not the Red Sox. And Sky Dome was packed to the gills, and it was a destination place for players. They were picking up superstars, and it was electric when you saw those games. You know, the World Series between Atlanta, the '92 World Series, I think, is the only reason it's not listed as one of the great World Series of all times, because it didn't go 7. But there was about 4 or 5 just nail biters in that game. There are 3 off the top of my head. The finale, there was a walk-off game with in the Sky Dome. There was the home run by Ed Sprague in Game 2. I mean, it was a classic series, of which, of all people, Mike Timlin got the save. It was just out of the bullpen. But like, even the first few years there, when it was still, Bell and McGriff and Dave Stieb, it was so much fun seeing it packed and the people in the blue shirts. And in the '92 World Series, the Braves had they had the, probably not politically correct anymore, tomahawks that they were chopping. And I don't know if you remember this or not. I'm sure you do, but the listeners, the Toronto fans were holding up blue J's, the letter J that were blue, and they were holding those up. So I thought that was, at first, why are they holding up blue J's? Oh, blue J's. It's one of those. I was like, you had to say it out loud. Like, oh, that's actually kind of clever. It's actually kind of clever. But yeah, the Toronto became a place where stars went to win their ring.
Yes.
Like Paul Molitor, like Dave Winfield, you know. And there was a couple other ones. Danny Cox, who missed out on a bunch of playoffs. I just want, give me a ring. Just go to Toronto and earn your ring. And David Cohn was another one, earned his first ring there. But that was it was fun seeing Toronto becoming a rockin' baseball place again. And it's a rockin' one now. So what do you think? I mean, I'm not going to put you on the spot here, but I just put you on the spot. What do you think? What do you think about their chances?
I absolutely think they're making the wild card.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that they're on too much of a tear at this point. I think the Yankees today, fell to 1.5 back, I believe.
Yeah.
Right.
And and with the A's winning, the A's could pull within half a game of the Yankees. I mean, the Yankees are in danger of falling behind Oakland.
Right.
If they have a bad week.
Toronto still has 3 against the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I feel like Toronto can kind of control their destiny, at least with regards to those 3 games potentially. And I think they've got 7 more against the Orioles and the Twins.
There you
go.
Well, but they're playing.
Rays.
Are they playing Tampa next? Who are the Jays playing next?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
In Tampa.
Man, I know you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, but you can't help but wonder if they had a little bit of a better August, if this would have been a chance to steal the division from them. But no, you can't. Again, you can't be Superman. You can't spin the earth backwards. It is what it is. But well, look, I can tell you, as just a baseball observer, I do think Tampa Bay is the best team in the American League right now. And if I were a betting man, and I'm not, but if I were a betting man, I would say that the Rays are probably the team to beat in terms of winning the American League pennant. But with that being said, I look at them and I look at the Blue Jays and more than any other team, more than Chicago, more than Houston, more than Boston, New York, or Oakland, if any team is going to unseat the defending American League champs, I think it's going to be Toronto. And the sad thing is, and similar in the National League, is that Toronto and Tampa won't meet in the ALCS. That the division series will essentially be a matchup between the two potentially best teams in the American League. So we'll see how that unfolds. So I think they're going to win. I think they're going to be in the wild card game. I think they're going to win the wild card game. And I think Toronto, Tampa is going to go 5. And it's just going to be a knockdown, bat flipping type of matchup. I think that series and the potential Dodgers-Giants division series are going to be probably the two best series, and there'll be added tension because it'll be best of 5. So we'll see what happens.
And the Jays got, this group got a bit of a taste of it last year, shortened season, mind you, right? So, totally different circumstances. And of course they were swept in that, and that's fine. But they've been there. They've gotten that little bit of experience, Yeah,
that's a great point. That's a great point. I wonder how much of that, even though it was a truncated season and they were quickly disposed of, how much of that of playing meaningful games down the stretch primed them for what they're going to be going through over the next, really, like only 2 weeks left of the season.
Yeah,
at this point.
I think that bodes in their favor. And, when you've added a couple of guys like George Springer, who have been there, done that, and bring that little bit of experience, I think it goes in their favor, personally speaking. They're not, last year being what it was, kind of easy to write off, but they're not new to this. This is not their first rodeo. And so, keep pounding the ball.
Well, this is not my first rodeo, but this is our first rodeo because you and I have been following each other for a little bit now. But I wanted to get you on, and look at that. I timed it so that they're really good. So, Jenn Smith, where can people follow you, read what you do, and learn all your greatness that is happening north of the border, as I'm south of your border?
You can follow me on Twitter at baseball_Jenn with 2 N's.
2 N's.
2 N's. I've got a few things that will be coming out soon. I'm writing freelance for The Analyst. I've got a few other freelance pieces that I'm working on right now. So there will be new stuff from me very, very soon.
Fantastic. And for everyone else, you can follow us at the free and easy to use Odyssey app. And if you want to follow us on Twitter, there it is. Locked On MLB Pods. If you're following us on YouTube, and hey, if you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe, tell your friends, leave a review. And notice I didn't say leave a positive review. Leave a review, because when I get negative reviews, guess what? I read those too. In fact, I sometimes have more fun reading the negative reviews, especially the guy who cursed me out and called me a Phillies fan. Go figure. I'm a Phillies fan. Who knew? That was news to me. But also, I just want to let everyone know that betting on baseball doesn't have to be a guessing game. If you listen to the new Locked On Bets podcast hosted by your boy Q and handicapping expert Lee Sterling, get daily picks, blowout specials, wrong team favorite picks, and Lee Sterling's lock of the day. Follow the Locked On Bets podcast brought to you by BetOnline.ag, wherever you get your podcasts. Talking about the most dangerous team in baseball. They may not be the best team, but I think they're the most dangerous team, and certainly not one I want to meet in a dark alley or in a best-of-5 series. The Toronto Blue Jays. My Twitter friend, now my podcasting friend, Jenn Smith. 2 N's, everybody. This has been Locked On MLB for the 19th day of September 2021. I'm your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully.